push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you, and just so good to be back after a busy weekend. And then we get into Monday, which yesterday, as you may know or maybe not, Richie, Quinn, and myself took part in the AJGA Junior Amateur event, and we certainly were listed as the amateurs during that one. We finished in, I believe, second place the last time we checked. And it was all because of my handicap. It was all because I have like Brian Tonar, God bless his soul, asked me what my handicap was. And I just point blank told him golf, like not good. As many tips as you could possibly give me, I'm still not going to get better, even though he is the best. And I did get better. Not my best showing. By any means, as Richie and Quinn will tell you, and certainly our junior will tell you. We're going to get to that experience in just a little bit. But that event going on right now, the AJGA at Mill Creek, brought to you by Mercy Health Foundation that do so much, so incredibly much for the kids and bringing these superstars, and I mean superstars, into our area. And again, we'll talk about that. Don't want to give too much away. But first, it is on this day in sports history, and it's a good one. So we've been heavy on the multi-sport, like multi-facet kids and multi-sport athletes. On this day in sports history in 1986, the 1985 Heisman Trophy winner, Bo Jackson, maybe you've heard of him. He signed a 3-year contract to play baseball with the Kansas City Royals. The rest is history. One of the greatest running backs, I would argue, especially if you're playing Tecmo football. One of the greatest players in the history of the game of football. Also, one of the most exciting players in the game of baseball. Multi-sport athlete that got it done on so many different levels, and at the highest of those levels for what it was the best years of his life, I'm sure. But you look at that and these kids, as we continue to talk about multi-sport athletes and getting involved in more than just one sport, especially when you are very, very young and not specializing and not trying to push your kid towards one sport over another, even though your interest may be in one particular sport. Getting them involved, and it's so good for them to understand team aspects, getting to learn different sports, different strategies, things of that nature, where they can get involved. And that's the biggest thing, is get your kids involved. And who knows, they could be the next Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders, or I'm trying to think of anybody else that would have played 2 sports. Most of these players play 2 sports for a long, long time, through high school, maybe into college. But very rarely do they excel enough to be professional athletes in those 2 sports. But it is not unheard of. Bo Jackson, as he signed on this day in sports history, 3-year contract with the Kansas City Royals back in the 80s. All right. So the AJGA, unbelievable. Brian Tonar, his crew, do such a good job of getting this prepared and having this in our valley. over $2 million coming in this year to our valley with these superstars. And I mean superstars. And people kind of chuckled at me yesterday when I was having a conversation, and they, I'm trying to tell them how exciting it is to have kids from 3 different countries and a plethora of different states all here in the Mahoning Valley taking part between the ages of 12 and 15. Some of these kids will be on the PGA Tour someday. Some of these kids will be on the LPGA Tour someday. And we were fortunate enough to be able to sit in with, and I'm going to butcher her last name because she told me 30 times and I couldn't get it figured out. Eliana Buhagiar, Buhagiar, from Canada, Ontario, Canada. She is a class of 2027. So she's 12. And this young lady could do no wrong on the golf course yesterday. She took, listen, I might as well have taken a backpack with me to the golf course because she took us all to school. And even though she was on our team and we ended up finishing, we were in the lead for some time and we were just hanging on by a thread. And then it all came crashing down. Nothing that we did. We parred out. But the other team were eagle, birdie, just unbelievable numbers that their handicap had to be helping them along the way. But I will say this, Eliana was so mature for just being able to handle like some of the questions we were asking her about Canada, about what she likes to do. And we're hopefully going to catch up with her later on this week and have conversations with her and so many other the AJGA invitees and qualifiers, because these kids are so incredibly intelligent and way mature, beyond their years. I remember at 12 years old, we were just trying to like figure out what to do for the day. These kids, Eliana is a AJGA golfer, which she is. I mean, she's beaten old dudes like me and Richie and Quinn. Well, Richie's not that old, but Quinn is kind of getting there. I'm definitely there. And she's telling us, like, teaching us little tips and tricks and things of that nature, how to putt, what we're doing wrong in our swings. And I mean, she can see it from a mile away. All these kids, we had a chance to talk to a bunch of them. And one was, going to set the course record at Mill Creek. And you start looking at that and you wonder, are we that lucky to be able to see the next Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Justin Spieth, you name it, Kokrak, right here in our valley. And I think that this is one of those things that, because there's not so much as an education for golf here, that we don't appreciate what comes through this valley as much as we should. I mean, Brian Tonar is one of the best, and he grew up in Hubbard. And, we just kind of take Brian for granted and take Mill Creek Metro Parks and Mill Creek Golf Course for granted because it's there. It's just, it's right off of 224 in Boardman. And most people just pass it on by each and every day. Like, get out and walk the course. And if you have a chance, the kids I think they're doing 36 holes today and 18 tomorrow. If you have a chance to get out and just support them, even just hang out, go there for an hour, go there, hang on, pardon me, go there during your lunch break and spend some time. As a matter of fact, we, YSN, will be out there for 2 of our 3 shows tomorrow. We're going to be at Mill Creek Golf Course, and we're going to be trying to sit down with some of these kids, having them on. We'll have Brian on, I'm sure, a few times. Hopefully we get some of his team. Stacy, I'm sure we'll sit down and talk about it, how important it is for young ladies to pick up a golf club. What's interesting to me is some of the statistics. And I've said this a million times privately, but I'll make it absolutely public, is I think they said 32% of and that number could be off, but I think it's off on the low side. 32% of scholarships for women's golf were unfilled last year. Unfilled. So if you're out there and you're a mom or you're a dad or you're a young lady who is looking to get into school and maybe you don't have the means to necessarily pay for it all, there's an opportunity for you to pick up a golf club between now and then and get better and get paid to go to school for playing golf. And I'm going to go out there on a limb, and I hope I'm not out there too far. But if you're in the business world, golf's probably something that you want to learn. Oh, there's a lot of business that gets done over the game of golf. And you ask anybody, it's a lot easier to be able to have conversations on the golf course than it is in the boardroom. And it just is easier to have conversations on the golf course and with a club in your hand than in the boardroom. And especially if you're a young lady who is athletic and one that can compete. Pardon me. Tickle my throat today. Apologize. To be able to have to go to college and to be a college athlete in the game of golf, when there's, they're basically trying to give money away for you to go to school and pick up 32% of the athletic scholarships in the game of golf were unfilled for women. This is the time. Now is the absolute time to get involved in the game of golf. And there's no better way to get involved than especially right here in our backyard. Going out and getting lessons from Brian or Stacy or anybody out at Mill Creek, getting involved and engaging yourself. Maybe you're not AJGA material. Maybe you're not taking golf that seriously at this point in your life, wherever you may be. Maybe you're just a beginner. Maybe you don't even have clubs yet. But the nice thing about, and I'll tell you from a personal standpoint, is that as someone who was through and through a terrible golfer and still not good, but better than I was last year, I was terrified to go get just advice from Brian or Stacy or just ask, like, how does getting fitted for clubs work? Because I had been one that basically got just whatever clubs I could find, put them in a bag and went out to the golf course, and they weren't necessarily made or benefited me in the least. But you take those kind of challenges and you take those insecurities and you go up to someone who's a professional and I mean a true pro, because never once have I asked Brian a question and he laughs or even smirks at me or anybody else that I know. Every question he and his team they answer with just an unbelievable professionalism that I've never. I mean, it's very challenging now because everybody kind of, I asked him the other day. I said, "Why can I hit better with my three than I can my driver?" And he said, "It's very simple. It's about the loft. It's about this. It's about that." Now I know. And the education will continue because I trust Brian. There's a trust when you're not made to feel like a fool, that you can rely on people and Brian and Stacy and again the whole crew at Mill Creek just have this innate way of telling you and explaining to you the way that you can understand it. They'll break it down. Like for me, it's like explaining to a 5-year-old with a lemonade stand, and they know how to do it. They get it, they understand it, and they're so good at that. For others, they go based on your skill sets. They're not going to use, terminology that you're not comfortable with or don't understand. They're going to break it down for you. So as a guy that was fortunate enough to get fitted for clubs and that's something that I always wanted to do. I love the game of golf. I love watching it. I wish I could be as good as I wish it was as easy to me on the course as it is on the television. But it's one of those things where if you're a young lady now, and some of these, Mike Senchek brought this stat up, 32% of scholarships are unfilled in our country right now in the game of golf for ladies. That would be a giant arrow pointing right at this moment, this opportunity is, if you're a young lady out there, and I don't know if you're 5 years old, if you're 10 years old, if you're 15 years old and you've never thought about joining the golf team, now might be the time, because again, they're trying to give these scholarships away, literally just trying to fill these, because you either use them or lose them. And women's sports is still not in a position to where they can lose scholarships. They can just, set them aside and not take advantage of them. And let's be honest, those scholarships are there for the taking. They're there. It's a competitive thing, yes, but if you're the only girl that applies for a scholarship or is seen and there's an opportunity, what does it matter? What does it matter? You're getting your school paid for, doing something that hopefully you enjoy a little bit, that takes a little bit of steam off. And guess what? You're a D1 athlete from that standpoint, right? Because they don't give, D1 or 2, I guess. They don't give D3 scholarships, athletic scholarships away. And then maybe, hey, who knows from there? Maybe you're making some NIL dollars as well, with a little side hustle. But that's my thing, is we're seeing, being able to sit in on all that yesterday opened my eyes to so much. Number one, I stink at golf. Number two, opportunities are endless in this game. And people look at it as a game of leisure and a game of whatever, whatever that may be. But it is competitive. And there are opportunities available to not only play at a high level, but also have your schooling paid for. So all you young ladies who are out there thinking, okay, well, I'm really good at this sport. I'm really good at this sport, really good at this sport, but I've never picked up a bag and some clubs. There's your opportunity. Because they're not, you might not get that volleyball, basketball, lacrosse scholarship that you're necessarily going after, but maybe you get a golf scholarship. Maybe you walk on to a lacrosse team, walk on to the basketball team, walk on, and they look at this and they go, listen, we don't, she's getting an athletic scholarship for golf. We don't have to pay her any scholarship here because she's got, let's say, a full ride or a half ride. Let's go. Let's take advantage of this situation. If it doesn't cost that program a scholarship to necessarily maintain or keep you there, they might look at you a little bit different at that point. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're going through this. The other topic, and also, hey, make sure, because I'm looking at the leaderboard right now, and Eliana is 18th. She was up there tied for third for a while. I got to figure out what that asterisk means. I think it means that she's done for the day. So a tough go at it for Eliana today. She ended up at plus 11. The leader is at the leader's at even. Jordan Levitt from Bedford, New York. She's a couple years ahead of Eliana. And then you've got Angela Kai at plus 2. So there's some ground to be made up, but our girl, if yesterday's any indicator, she's not going to give up anytime soon. She's going to fight through all 36 holes today and then 18 tomorrow, and just see where it is. Her dad, we asked her where her family was, because typically sometimes the family will follow you. And she said that, they're just exploring Youngstown. And immediately, Richie and Quinn and I, our eyes got like saucers, and we're wondering, okay, where are they? Like, Canadians are the nicest people ever, right? That's their MO. They're nice, polite, overly nice, I guess. And we were just really nervous about where they could have ended up in Youngstown. Because, there's great places in Youngstown, and there's some, I think we all know. I don't have to finish that sentence. So, yeah, get out there if you can. Follow the AJGA, follow the leaderboard, which we'll share on our social media, so you can follow some of these kids. And then tomorrow, tune into some special editions of YSN Power Hour at 3:00, and then the YSN Running Point from 12 to 2. Ty and Anthony will be out at Mill Creek Metro Parks Golf Course. Can't can't get rid of this tickle. It's killing me. It's killing me, folks. I apologize. We'll be out there tomorrow from 12 to 4, hanging out and talking to some of these golfers, hanging out with Brian and his crew as well. So that's tomorrow. Coming up tomorrow as well is another thing that people have, they're excited for, to say the least. We are having, it's a big week. We've got Thursday night. We have the Penn, Ohio game here on YSN exclusively, streaming and broadcasting during that game. And then Saturday and Sunday, it's All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend. We started off at 7 o'clock on Saturday at Scene Park, the baseball All-Star game. We're absolutely excited and privileged to be able to have this game. And then Sunday, we have our second annual YSN All-Star softball game at Youngstown State University. And people are listen, we get it. You're excited. It's so hard to be able to track down all these athletes, especially during the summer. We can't have it much earlier because sometimes we don't want it to conflict with state championships or things of that nature. We might push it up a week next year, but even then you're battling vacations and things, that are out of our control. So what I decided to do today during the Power Hour was kind of release who we have. And you've seen some of the stuff go out with our social media in announcements. But we're going to release who we have to this point, and also some schools that we're having trouble with. So maybe if you're out there watching and you're wondering why you haven't seen one of your players come across, or why listen, we rely on social media heavily. We rely on athletic directors, and we're trying to leave the ADs out of it, leave them alone, because it's their summer, it's their vacation. So if we have a last-ditch effort, we might try to touch base with the ADs, but we're trying social media. So if you're out there and you think you might be kind of invited to the YSN All-Star Game, you might want to check your social media, especially if it's Twitter, Instagram. We've reached out on Facebook to a few, trying to get people, and we have some phone numbers as well, and some of these phone numbers are not in service. So we got some bad contact information. So if you think that you're part of the YSN All-Star Game, or at least should be, you might want to check your social media, or worst case scenario, reach out to us and ask us, hey, I noticed you don't have this player from this team. Did you try to reach out to them? Because we're trying. And right now, let's be honest, there's 2 or 3 of us that are trying to do all this. And so we apologize. And the game is Saturday and Sunday. The games are Saturday and Sunday. So we're trying to do these last-ditch efforts to make sure we get as many schools represented as possible. If you feel like you got slighted, we apologize. And especially if you're pretty sure that we reached out and maybe you find it, don't be embarrassed. Just send us a message. We'll get you in. We haven't built the programs yet. We want to make sure that we get you acknowledged as where you're at. So here's kind of who, and maybe if you're out there watching, you can help us get a hold of some of these folks. So first and foremost, we'll start with baseball, because that's the first and the Gator closest to the boat on Saturday. So from Austintown Fitch, Joe Roth is going to be the representative from Austintown Fitch. From Badger, we reached out to Brad Hamilton, haven't heard anything back yet. So if you know Brad, if you think he might be available, have him message us from just, hey, I'm good to go, or sorry, I missed it, whatever it may be. Have a text message out to him a couple times over. So we'll see if we can get him. Avery Wiggin from Beaver Local will represent Beaver Local in the All-Star Game. So congratulations to Avery. Boardman, we have a trio of Jason Treveri, Anthony Butto, and Seth Cervello that will represent the Spartans. Brookfield did not end up with a representative. We reached out. Donovan Pulowski was our guy, and he said that he had a conflict and could not be there. So congratulations, Donovan. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Brookfield's going to be represented this year at the All-Star Game. Dwan Reynolds from Camp Memorial will be the representative for the Red Devils, so congratulations to him. Canfield has quad representation. So we have Landon Beidelshees, who most likely will start the game for whoever. I think the way we're planning it, he has to go with Gary Niddle, who will be the coach for one of the teams. We also have Josh Giuliano Jake Gerdick, and Ryan Petra. So 4 Cardinals make the cut for the All-Star game. Thanks to them for taking time. I know Landon's coming home from Ohio State just to do this. So we're greatly appreciative. One of the best players in Ohio, and obviously the Cardinals with a great season. Grateful to have them. Zach Herib, and we are going to have Cole Littman be from Cardinal Mooney. Cole is they got to check and make sure that he can toss, but from what I understand, he's going to try to make it that day, and we're excited to have Zach as well from Cardinal Mooney. Joe Fell from Boardman. Joe Fell from Champion. My apologies. Will be a representative for the Golden Flashes. We're excited for that. From Columbiana, a couple. We've got a couple Clippers. Riley McElwain and Brady Kreidler will represent. So Kreidler, a great first baseman, and Riley can pitch, can play the field, can hit, can do just about everything you ask him to. So we'll have him there. Carter Blakeman, another one of those great athletes, will be on hand, and he's representing Crestview. So Carter can pitch, can field, and can hit just absolute bombs, and is playing at the next level. So we're excited and honored to have Carter be part of our game. Justin Maldonado from East will represent the Golden Bears. So I know he's amped up for it. And from East Liverpool, we have a two-time representative in Evan Tice, just a sophomore. But Evan is in back-to-back years of representing East Liverpool in this game. We're excited for Evan to be part of this. And quite frankly, Evan could be a 4-year YSN All-Star by the time it's all said and done. And I think that's what he's shooting for, with a lot more than that, because this young man's got a bright future. Kyler Bourne will represent my alma mater of East Palestine, just a freshman. Kid's got size. He's got skill. He's got every single thing that you could want. And he's a young man who's going to really, I think, in my humble opinion, you're going to hear his name for a long time coming. So I'm excited to have him be part of this All-Star game. And again, very special to me to have my very own alma mater and Brian's alma mater as well represented in this game. Could not get anybody from Edison, never got a call back or a message back. So if you're out there from Edison, you want a Wildcat representing you in the All-Star game, actually it's both All-Star games, boys and girls. If you wouldn't mind sending us a message, and we'll get somebody taken care of as soon as we can. Garfield, same thing. We're looking for a representative from them. Coming up empty from the contact standpoint. I know the AD has tried to reach out, and just we're coming up empty. So if you're out there, you're from Garfield, and you need a representative, you want to see one of your G-men or G-ladies, I think that's what you call them, lady G-men maybe, make sure that you get in touch with us. Reach out on our social media, please. Gerard, we're trying to get a hold of Jordan Grant. I've got no means of contact. So we're going to reach out to Mr. Cochran, the athletic director out there, Nick Cochran, and try to get an Indian in the game as well. We have Drew Galt and Drew Walker representing Heartland Christian in this game. The Drews, what a year for Heartland Christian under the tutelage of Mark Franken and some of the top coaches that are so selfless at Heartland Christian. Heartland Christian is I'd say they're back, but this is their arrival. And Heartland Christian baseball, some of these guys that are just graduating or maybe just graduated last year were a big part of bringing Heartland Christian baseball back. And for Drew, Galt, and Walker to represent the Lions, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to really showcase that Heartland Christian isn't just another one of those schools where you schedule them and you expect a W anymore. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to battle against the Lions. And Drew Galt and Drew Walker are great examples of that. And we're excited to have them part of our game. Hubbard, Andrew Colley will have the representation from the Eagles. Standout sophomore, one of the best baseball players in the area, hands down. I'm excited to see this young man in person, excited to have him hopefully step aside for an inning or two and talk with Richie Giuliano during the actual broadcast, pick his brain a little bit because he's played a lot of baseball and he is really, really good. Then you move down to Jackson Milton, we came up empty. Jefferson, we came up empty. LeBray had an injury. We invited Jordan McCartney. He's unable to make it, from what I'm told. So those are three more schools we would love to make sure that we have a representative for. So again, if you're out there, send us some messaging, and we'll try to get you hooked up. Andrew Roberts accepted today, so we're excited to have a Lakeview representative, young man who's very, very good. And a lot of people are very high on what he's been able to do. And he's a junior, so he's still got 1 year left and one year to kill it. Latonia representing Ashton Hulett. So the Bears, the first ever YSN school, making sure they're part of this, as Coach Kibbe giving us a really good player in Ashton Hulett. So we're excited. Liberty coming up empty. Again, if you're a Leopards fan, make sure that you send us someone our way, rather. Hunter Sturgeon from Lisbon will be there representing the Blue Devils. And then we've got Louisville with a pair. Anthony Warner and JT Popick will be representing, again, two guys who, I mean, last fellas standing, right? Louisville was the last baseball team standing in the YSN family. And if I had a sneaky suspicion, I'm going to guess that Anthony Warner gets the start for his dad on Saturday. So you're going to want to see this young man. He can bring it. Probably upper 80s, right-hander, sneaky stuff. And JT Popick is as smooth as it comes. My guy playing D1 baseball, and he's going to be a stud over in Akron. So we're excited to see him represent Louisville. Justin Beeson will be the representative from Lowellville. So thank you to that. We're trying to get Andrew Capan, trying to bring him in. We've reached out on his social media, and I think we finally got a right number reaching out. So hopefully the McDonald representative, Andrew, will be able to come through in the clutch. Middle Ridge, Mark Bunch, two no-hitters this year, and back-to-back games on the bump. And Mark will also be pitching for us in the YSN All-Star game. So thank you to him. A couple new guys from Mohawk. Cooper Vance is a great pitcher. He's playing at the next level, but he's also one heck of an infielder. Cooper will be there. AJ Verdi will be being a backstop for one of the teams. So we're excited. A couple Mohawk representatives on the field as well. The first ever, and I mean ever, Pennsylvania representatives in any All-Star game on YSN. And we're looking forward to get them involved very, very quickly. Gino Lazzari, I mean, from Newton Falls, this kid is in the record books for one of the best batting averages in the history of our state. The history of our state. And he's a youngin'. I'm pretty sure he's a sophomore. And this guy is breaking records, snapping them off left and right. And he's still not getting the attention he deserves. So we're going to give him some of that, putting him up against the best competition. Prospects guy in the Class B. We're going to give him the light that he deserves, and so deserving is this young man. So make sure you get some autographs from him, because they're going to be worth something someday. Reaching out to Michael Gennari from Niles. Hopefully he can make it. Poland, we have Mikey Natoli, who will be part of the game. From Salem, the backstop Darius Beck, he's part of the game. He will be on hand. DB12, again, high character kid. He's got swag for days, and he is excited for this opportunity. So the Quakers are represented as well. From Sebring, we're trying to get somebody out there. Carter Holodnik is one of our guys we'd love to have playing this game. We're reaching out to him. Coach is being so great about trying to get someone and represent the Trojans. From South Range, a couple representatives. Aiden English, who is going to be a YSU pitcher. He is going to be representing South Range in this game. Also, Dylan Dominguez, the multi-sport athlete, also going to be YSU, but on the gridiron is going to be representing the Raiders on the baseball field here in the All-Star game. From Springfield, AJ Stallsmith, absolute stud. Cannot wait to see this young man. Does so much, and he's going to Mount Union to play baseball at the next level for Springfield. So we're excited for that. Struthers, we had Drew Day. He's got things that he has to do that day. So we're looking for a Wildcat. So if you're out there and you need or know someone who would want to take part in this game and represent Struthers, we'd love to have you there. Just reach out to us again on our social media. From United, Trent Newburn will represent the Golden Eagles, one of the young men who you don't really know about because of what's happened to him. He's battled not only COVID, but then his freshman year, then he had an injury his sophomore year that he had in football didn't allow him to play baseball, which is the game he loves and he feels he excels at. In a junior year, he just absolutely broke out. Newbern just lights out this year in the EOAC, and we are excited to have him pitch in our all-star game, and a young man that can do it all. He is a 5-tool player, has it all, and we're excited to kind of unleash him to the world. And some that may never see him or don't get to see him on the EOAC side of things during the year, maybe now they get to see the talent that is kind of crept up in the EOAC over the last 3 or 4 years. From Ursuline, Luca Ricciuti and Drew Carilla will represent the Irish. I'm excited for this. Luca battling through injury, and he's going to come back. He's going to be a designated hitter, not going to play the field, but he's going to sit there and get a couple ABs, hopefully for whatever team he's on. And then Drew Carilla, who is an absolute stud of a pitcher, a big, strong lefty, is going to deal for us in the game as well. So excited to have the Irish on hand for the event. A couple Eagles going to be flying into Scene Park on Saturday. Michael Morrow, who is the Iceman, the Dragon Slayer, whatever you want to call him. You just have to respect him because he was one of the most clutch hitters in all of the Buckeye State. So you've got him, who is actually, Michael is leaving the next day for West Point. So I'm sure that's going to be very emotional for his folks to kind of, the last day he could be spending with anybody, but he's going to spend it with us. So we're very honored to have that. And Gavin Schrum, who is going to be on his way to Malone, will be taking part in the All-Star game as well. A young man that can play defense with the best of them, but also has a lightning fastball and has some good stuff on the bump. So we'll see if he can give us an inning or so on the mound, and they'll be representing Warren JFK one last time in their final high school game. Waterloo, we had Luke Simons. Luke Simons unfortunately can't make it. So Waterloo will not be represented unless you guys can get us somebody at the last minute. We'd love to have it. We want to make sure the Vikings are there. Jackson Brewer from Wellsville will be on hand for the Tigers. So we're excited for that. West Branch, we're still waiting a call back or a message back from you guys. Hopefully we can get a representative. And Western Reserve, just thumbs up this one, Jacob Buckman. So we're excited for him. Another catcher, great character kid, high character kid. Reached out to my good buddy, my college teammate, Jake Zatchok, who he pitched at Westminster. I caught at Westminster, and now he's one of the coaches for Western Reserve. So he's helping us with that one. So that is your boys lineup. If you didn't hear your name, or you didn't hear also Wyndham, we're trying to get somebody from Wyndham as well. If you didn't hear your name or your school represented, you need to reach out, get someone in that slot. We want to have every school represented. That is our number one goal. And obviously this time of year, it's very hard with vacations and everything that goes into it. So make sure you help us out if you can from that standpoint. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the girls' side of things in the All-Star game, where we're at and where we need to be by this time tomorrow so we can have the All-Star draft here on YSN live on the network and let these young men and young ladies know who they're playing for, what coach they're playing for, and ultimately we'll tell you what we're playing for when we come back on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, No job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
What's up? Welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Just a reminder, tomorrow's draft will be live. We're shooting for 8 o'clock tomorrow. We'll draft each and every one of these players. We're trying to come up with a kind of a neat way. We did the playing cards during basketball season. So we're trying to come up with a neat way to draft these teams. There should be around 3. I think we confirmed it. There's going to be 3 catchers on each team. So each catcher will get 3 innings to catch. We're trying to get 18 or so pitchers out there. So we're getting close, from that standpoint. So that way each pitcher gets an inning. We're not taxing the arms because that's one of the problems. The other problem is, as we get into the girls' side of things, is travel ball. And baseball seemingly is you'd think it'd be more of a problem, but usually pitchers, if they pitch, they're off. They'll pitch their game and then they'll come back. Graduation parties, we've had it all, and some of these kids are actually leaving to go enroll in school in the summer, so that way they're not necessarily taxed as hard during the season if they're playing at the next level. So again, we're not mad at all. We're not even concerned from a standpoint of people getting upset with us. What you have to understand is we're doing the best we can. They're doing the best they can. And in the middle of a summer, it's very challenging. And some of these kids, honestly, unlike anything I've ever heard before, they're done. They just want to be done. Some of them are just done with the sport. They said, I've had enough. I had the moment that I wanted to walk out on. Don't necessarily need the All-Star game for that. And I respect that. I respect that a whole hell of a lot because at the end of the day, you go out the way you want to. And you don't always have that opportunity. So I respect that. Let's get to the softball side of things, where we've had Anthony's been working diligently and so hard to get these players to play in the game. So schools that we do not have a representative for here, I think this is the easiest way to do it. So Badger, we do not have a representative for this season to this point. We don't have Cheney this season. We do not have East this season. Jefferson, we're coming up short on as well as Liberty and Lisbon. Who else are we coming up short on? Newton Falls and Niles. And that's it. And I think that's it. But right now, those are the ones we've been turned down from or haven't heard anything back. Looking still for Wyndham, for Wellsville, also from Sebring, finalizing things hopefully in Louisville and in Lisbon, as I said. Who else? Edison and East Liverpool are 2 that we're still looking for, and then Camel Memorial as well. But who we do have, and that's the more important part of this right now, is from Austin Town Fitch. Again, last lady standing, Ayla Ray and Maddie Taylor will be representing. Big thanks to them. Obviously, we've had a ton of people reaching out. Everybody wants to see Sid Watts, and Sid, unfortunately, is at a travel ball tournament, as is Kenna Hogan. And it's one of those things where these young ladies, some of these ladies are coming from tournaments to our game because it's that important to represent their school. We're very, very thankful. Sid Watts, I think, is in a different state, so it's impossible. So thank you to to all these young ladies who even thought about coming, and then especially to the ones who are making the trip and representing their schools during the game on Sunday. Again, Sunday, 7 o'clock, YSU is where this game is going to be had. Beaver local Olivia Keller will be taking part in the game. Maddie Weimer from Boardman will be the representative for the Lady Spartans. Miranda Nicholson from Brookfield will be in the circle at some point. Melina Toth will be in from Canfield, as well as Bayan Jadala from the Cardinals. We also have the dynamic duo of Elena Scavina and Elena Francis. They both pitch and catch, so it might be one of those situations where we try to make some fun with that. And you might see them both pitch and catch. So we're excited to have them both. They were one of the first ones to sign on to the dotted line and play in the All-Star game on Sunday. So grateful and thank you very much. We got Maddie Jones and Addie Warzala from Champion that will be taking part in the game. Julia Rapp from Columbiana, also going to be a go-getter from the Clipper side of things. Carson Moore and Caden Sutton from Crestview will be taking part. We have Gia Bristelli from East Palestine, who agreed to play on, and she's the only senior from Palestine and looking to go out the way that she wants to go out with some of the best in the entire state of Ohio here in this All-Star game here on Sunday. Sydney Seaman will represent Garfield, so we're excited for Sid to play for us. Emily Rizacci will be the representative from Girard. We also have Brooke Tater and Maddie Hufford, who will represent Howland. Haley Croyle and Jillian Reiser will be Hubbard's representatives. Chelsea Williams and Michaela Thornhill will be from Jackson Milton and be on hand as well. Chelsea's been a superstar athlete for Jackson Milton, so it'll be awesome to kind of send her out, give her a high five along the way, because she's been fun to watch in all the sports, and I think she plays almost all the sports that the Blue Jays have to offer, so it'll be fun for that. Grace Bamhart will be representing LeBray. Excited for that. Ella Chadwick and Kylie Imes will be the Lakeview representatives. We will also have Sammy Kelly from Lowellville taking part. Lucy Wolford from McDonald will be the representative for the Blue Devils. From Mineral Ridge, got Maddie Lone. I always butcher this name. Yelonen, I believe. Anthony's going to be all over me for that one. From Mineral Ridge, she's taking part. Olivia Hare from Mohawk will be the representative for the Lady Warriors. Then we have a foursome from Poland. We've got Katie McDonald, Abby Farber, Mary Brandt, and Emily Denny that will be on hand for the Bulldogs. Riley Troy is the lone representative from Salem, but she can absolutely sling it in the circle. So we're excited to have her on hand. Sam Suzanne and Maddie Dado will be representing South Range this season in the All-Star game. Haley McCullough and Maddie Lesnack will be the Springfield reps. Nicolina Pizzone will be the Struthers rep and will be on hand on Sunday as well. Colby Burton will be United's rep. Maddie Mickland, Alyssa Sheely, and Mia Opalik, I'm going to guess, are Ursuline reps. We also have Juju Toth is going to be there on Warham JFK. So we're excited for Juju to be back in the All-Star game, her second appearance. Then you got Mackenzie Kerr from Waterloo and Sid Mercer from West Branch. Finally, and last but not least, Kaylee Selly from Western Reserve will be on hand for the All-Star game. And just overly excited for this. And why it's so important isn't necessarily the game itself. While it is important to give these young men and young women an opportunity to shine in an all-star game and something to put on their resumes, to me, it's more important for them to be able to represent their school in an opportunity to raise money for a great organization. And this year for our all-star game, we're raising money and raising funds and awareness for Project MKC, and why it's so important to me. And we're going to try to have Justin on the show or somebody from Project MKC later this week, whether it be Thursday or Friday. Why it's so important is the work that these people do can affect not just families today, but families for a long, long time. I mean, their number one thing they do are diaper drives, and they try to make sure that no kid ever has to be in a dirty diaper. No family ever has to worry about, can they afford a diaper to make sure that their kid is clean or healthy, or, things of that nature. But I'll also tell you that businesses stepped up Um, and I think they still do this with their Christmas stuff. Like they play basically Santa Claus, and for kids that are in the foster care system or kids that don't have the ability to have solid like Christmases, they step up and they make sure that there's clothes and pajamas and like presents and things of that nature, but also the basic necessities, which is so important. It's so important because if a kid understands that they are loved no matter what can be provided, and Project MKC never asked for anything back. They never ask for even a thank you. It's just they just do. And that's one of the reasons I love this organization so much, is because they do good without asking for a receipt, if that makes sense. And that's the way I think it should be. That's the way we try to operate here at YSN. And to see other organizations do the same thing and do it at a very high level, and people will just appreciate them so much, whether it be child family services or just general families. These are people that need our help, that will never necessarily come out and ask for it. And every person that goes through the turnstiles this weekend, whether it be at the baseball game on Saturday or the softball game on Sunday, will be having an immediate impact on our area. And I know it's easy for people to sit back and go, yeah. What's the, you don't understand. You don't understand how like every dollar that comes through that turnstile for paying for a ticket, which is $5. It's $5 per person, is going to help a family in need or a young person in need of some kind of attention, whether it be diapers, whether it be other. We're going to leave that up to Project MKC. We're going to leave that up to the pros, the people who know this better than we do. But we know that they need help. We know that they need help in raising funds and raising awareness and things of that nature. And that's what we do. So they stick to what they're good at, and that's helping and bringing light to what it could be a dark situation. And we stick to what we're good at, which is raising awareness and rallying the troops a little bit. So you being the troops on Saturday and Sunday, by coming to these games, just by being part of them, showing up for the kids, celebrating these whether it be the careers or the seasons or whatever it may be, or just opportunities that these kids have on Saturday and Sunday, you make an immediate difference in our area. And that makes you the hero. And we're excited for that. Kids, make sure you bring your baseballs. If you have I guess you could bring a bat. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to see too many people with bats, but like one of those situations, maybe you want to have whatever you want signed. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. We're going to try to get some kids out there and for the intros and stuff like that. We're going to make sure that there's enough Sharpies and pens and things of that nature, that if you want something signed by some of these all-stars, whether they be the boys or the girls, we're going to make sure you have the opportunity to have some of your stuff signed, because it's just as important to send these kids out the way that they deserve, and that's to be superstars. It's an all-star game. Some of these kids are going to be able to look back in 10 years. If they're 8 years old, look back in 10 years when they're a part of the all-star game and say, I remember when. And that to me is incredible, because it gives them something to look forward to, gives them a memory to strive to be, and to make good choices moving forward. And I think that's what we ask of all of our student athletes, is to make good choices, and a lot more good choices than bad choices, and good things will happen to you. So my vision is hopefully some of these kids that are taking pictures or selfies with these kids on Saturday and Sunday night are in this game themselves in a short time to come. And this is something to celebrate around is our all-star game, because it's different. It's not just a senior game, which I think makes it different already, but this is the most kids from the most different, from the number of schools that are represented in these games. You're going to shake your head. And I'm so proud of it. Seeing all these high school jerseys represented, all these high schools represented, it's a warm feeling in the bottom of my heart. And couldn't do it without you. So if you don't have plans this weekend, and even if you do, come out and support these kids. Come out and support a good cause, Project MKC. Make sure that you stop by, and you'll see me rolling around with my family, and some of the other announcers. Steve Leslie is going to be around, hopefully on both nights, and we will. We're excited to hear some of your stories and why YSN is so important to you. Whether it be because it got you through a hard time in COVID, or because we were able to kind of pat the back of your son, your daughter, grandson, nephew, niece, whatever it may be. We love hearing those stories. It keeps us going. It really does. It really does. And it's cool to be able to hear it in a face-to-face conversation, because again, I'll say it again, you might see us every day, but there's a lot of times we can't see you, or we see you on social media, but we don't have the chance to interact with you on a face-to-face basis. So those are always good times for us. And Richie will have the game on Saturday. And then we'll have Anthony and Ty will have the game on Sunday. So make sure you say hi, come out, buy a shirt, support the brand, support Project MKC. Everything we do, we try to give back to the communities whenever and however we can. So thank you very, very much. Before the event even happens, the draft tomorrow night, to let these kids know where they're going to play, on what side they're going to play on. It really has no relevance to what they wear. We're just asking them to wear their favorite high school jersey. Doesn't necessarily have to match. If there are more than one of them from one school, they don't have to match. One can wear one, the other one can wear the other. Just an exciting game. So many uniforms, so much fun, and we're going to have some very special moments, I feel like, this year. So again, YSN, both games start at 7 p.m. The Saturday night game at Bobsine Park, beautiful Bobsine Park. And then on Sunday, we will have it at Youngstown State University. So excited for that. And you know what it's time for? Wrap this baby up. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your spark? The Joe Dickey Electric, What's Your Spark? Brought to you by our friends at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, make sure you give them a shout. Stop at their campus in North Lima, or head over to DickeyElectric.com, which is, to me, the easiest way if you want to get a hold of them. But that opportunity is always there. All right, so the spark today is and has to be just being able to have events like yesterday where Brian Tolnar is so gracious to invite us to be part of it, and having our guys out there and representing the brand and getting to know some of these folks, and just unbelievable opportunities and moments to be shared. And tomorrow is going to be we're going to try to encapsulate that, because when we go on the road and we do what we call remotes in the business, it's a great opportunity to be seen, but it's a great opportunity to have others kind of join our family. And tomorrow will be no different. We'll have kids that are from all over the country, that will be, and all over the world for that matter. Our girl's tied for 18th right now. Hopefully she has a bounce back day tomorrow, sitting at plus 11. Eliana, if you're watching, we appreciate you, and we're rooting for you. But we're also going to have several other players on, and Brian Tolnar and Stacy, hopefully, as well. And we'll try to sit down with some of the sponsors as well, because it's to hear their stories of why they support the AJGA and youth sports in general is, I mean, it can almost bring a tear to your eye, because it's so personal on so many different levels. So we're excited for that. I hope you're excited for it. Tune in tomorrow starting at noon. We'll have complete coverage of it, and also check out the leaderboards of the AJGA. For all that and more, you can go to ysnlive.com as well. We've got games tonight, ysnlive.com/live. And of course, don't miss out on a thing. Just make it your homepage. Make it your default homepage, ysnlive.com. For all of us at the network, DJ Oakley saying we'll see you tomorrow live from Mill Creek starting at noon here on YSN. YSN.